It's January, which means we are getting closer to the Oscars. In today's update video, I expand to newer categories, make some bold predictions, and talk about why I believe Karen will win Best Picture. Let's do it. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. One of my absolute favorite series to do. It's my predictions update video, and we're getting closer to the end, but we're not quite there yet. Today, I'm giving you guys two more categories, which means we're almost to the entire set of predictions, but I also want to switch a lot of things up. Some very different results compared to my last video because a lot of things have changed. So I need you guys in the comments down below letting me know, what is your craziest Oscar prediction? What do you believe will get nominated for Best Picture? And if you like these videos, this ongoing series that I personally love to do, drop your thumbs up down below. That tells me you'd like to see more, maybe one next month. Also, can I reiterate, this is not who I want to win. That could be a different video in its entirety. And of course, my heart's going to make me lean in certain directions. But at the end of the day, I want to be right. So maybe I'm going to choose movies that I'm not the biggest fan of. But that's how predictions work. Sports betting, all that fun stuff. If you guys are here and you want to follow along with me during Oscar season, you can find me on Twitter at @TheBurkenator or on TikTok, where I plan on doing individual nomination videos once we approach that season. But let's go ahead and get into today's first category, and that is the fact that I'm finally giving up on A Quiet Place Part 2. There just haven't been enough nominations for the film, so moving it out of my top 5. Another honorable mention that I want to talk about is The Power of the Dog, which is racking up, it seems like, almost everywhere. But I am pretty confident in my top 5. Looking at a movie like Belfast, good sound design, but it's that kind of movie that's just going to get a ton of nominations. No Time to Die, keeping it in this category. At number 3, a newcomer to my top 5, it is Tick, Tick, Boom. Again, there's a lot of sound in this movie because it's a musical, but Tick, Tick, Boom does genuinely have great sound design, so I think it deserves to be there. But 2 and 1, you know, I'm looking at West Side Story. It has a good chance, but Dune, I feel like, is going to sweep a lot of these technical categories, so I'm going to keep it in my 1 spot. International feature, I've taken Titan out of the list and moved my honorable mention, and it was 2 months ago when I had Drive My Car right outside the top 5. But since then, not only is it getting international feature wins, it's getting a couple of Best Picture wins. And when we get into my Best Picture category, we'll talk about that more so. But because of that, it's firmly in my 1 spot because really, maybe other than The Worst Person in the World, none of these other films have approached that status. So that's clearly number 1. 5, 4, and 3, you have A Hero, The Hand of God, and Flee. Again, I'm still keeping Titan outside looking in. A movie like Compartment number 6, outside looking in. But as of now, I'm very confident in 2 and 1, and Drive My Car at this point is a winner. Visual effects, let's start with the honorable mentions. Goodbye, Shang-Chi. I had it in my top 5, but there's another Marvel movie making a splash right now, as well as Ghostbusters Afterlife, kind of on the outside looking in for me. At number 5, I'm going to go with Godzilla vs. Kong. It just really deserves to be there, and I hope people see that. Number 4, Free Guy, one that I haven't had in my top 5 yet, but this movie's getting a lot of talk in other spaces, which is nice. I'm going No Way Home at number 3. Because No Way Home is being talked about in other categories, and it's breaking a lot of box office records. So this isn't me saying that No Way Home has better effects than something like Shang-Chi, but I love the movie. That aside, I believe it has solid enough visual effects to put it on this list and give it some sort of recognition. Number 2, I saw Matrix. I can confirm that the visual effects are really good, and it's been getting nominations in a lot of circuits. And then, of course, number 1, it's Dune. No competition. Another one that people will talk about is Don't Look Up, but I'm just not seeing the VFX love for that film. So that's my top 5. Very confident in Dune. Really wanted to switch things up today and put Dune at number 1 again. It's a real underdog story. No, we all know that Dune is going to win a lot of these categories, but score is a bit different. I believe it does have some competition. Power of the Dog, Spencer, both Johnny Greenwood. Really cool to see that. I don't know if they have the ability to beat Dune because it's just racking up, and the Golden Globes kind of cemented that for me. I also want to throw, this time around, Don't Look Up on the list. I truly believe Don't Look Up's score is resonating with people even more so than I thought it would. So there is some confidence there putting it in the top 5. And then kind of on that fringe, does it get it, does it not, The French Dispatch. Honorable mentions, I actually have a lot. Encanto, which has been getting some surprise nominations because usually you stick with one song or maybe soundtrack, but score definitely in there. We saw the Golden Globe nomination as well. Nightmare Alley, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and King Richard. I don't think they get in. My number 5 spot, French Dispatch, I think has the best opportunity. Production design, this one's actually fairly tough when I look at the 5 spot. I went with Tragedy of Macbeth because I feel like personally it would be top 3, but I feel like it has to get in the top 5, right? But I wouldn't be shocked to see The Power of the Dog, something like Spencer, Cyrano, and Belfast. They're all kind of those honorable mentions. But at number 4, The French Dispatch, there's no denying the astounding production design in that film. Nightmare Alley, this could be its only nomination because nobody's really talking about Nightmare Alley elsewhere. Number 2, West Side Story. Incredible production design. It may even personally be my number 1. But number 1, do I have to say it? I refuse. It's Dune. Animated film, only one change to this list, and that is bringing in Raya and the Last Dragon, taking out something like Belle. Now, Belle gets a release date finally this weekend, and it is a movie that people will be talking about, but I don't know if it's going to get enough recognition to put it on this list. And I've taken away all my other honorable mentions. I don't think Ron's Gone Wrong or Vivo has a shot at a nomination. Unfortunately, it hurts my ever-loving soul that no one's talking about The Summit of the Gods. But unfortunately, no one's talking about The Summit of the Gods. Raya and the Last Dragon, feel very confident in Luca. My personal favorite, The Mitchells versus the Machines. Number 2 being Flea. I still think it being a documentary and just so creative, it deserves to be in that 2 spot. But number 1, it's Encanto. That's the one that's winning everything. The Golden Globe, it's going to win, in my opinion. And yeah, that's my choice. Adapted screenplay, on the outside looking in, but do not look past a movie like Tick, Tick, Boom or Drive My Car. I'm even going to keep passing on that honorable mentions list. My number 5 is a movie that I've moved down a spot or 2. It is Dune. I still think Dune gets in. A lot of recognition there. Number 4 is a newcomer to this list, but one that was an honorable mention. That is CODA. CODA's getting a lot of love, a lot of warranted love, and it's the film that I am personally starting to really feel this attachment to, and part of me even wants to see it be in the conversation for Best Picture, so it's nice to see it on this list. Then we have The Lost Daughter, a film that I believe works almost solely because of its screenplay and the way that it's presented to us. West Side Story definitely getting on there, but right now it's The Power of the Dog in this category. No competition and gaining steam in every category. That's what The Power of the Dog's doing, but especially for screenplay, if you look at its victories like the CFCA and the BFCC and all of these, it has all of these wins, and I believe the second most is Drive My Car with 2 victories, so it's almost a guarantee. And not that the Critics' Awards determine everything, but it's literally won almost all of them, so at this point, you kind of have to lean in that direction. Original screenplay, on the outside looking in, unfortunately, I had to take off Come On, Come On. I had it on. I'm wanting to be confident in it, but just it's not being talked about like I wished it would. And being the Ricardos on the outside looking in. As much as I didn't love the film, I do believe it's still being hit upon just a little bit. I'm going Mass at number 5 because other than Licorice Pizza, which is in first place right now on most original screenplay wins, Mass is number 2 with 4 wins. So, and again, that's not the sole determining factor, but I am going to throw it on this list. There is a bit more confidence now that it has been winning a few of these awards. Let's just hope the different voting body feels a similar way. At number 4, King Richard, still keeping it on there. I believe it took home the BFCC, so a little bit of confidence there, not a whole lot. Don't Look Up, it's Adam McKay. That and Come On, Come On are tied with, I believe, 1 or 2 right now, so it could go either way, but I think they're going to put McKay in there. At number 2, just realized there's 2 L's in Licorice Pizza, but I am going Licorice Pizza because it barely has the most wins right now in the critics' circle. It's Licorice Pizza, Mass, and Belfast right there. Belfast is at number 3 with 3 wins, and this is just kind of the information that I'm looking at. So it would be hard for me to put it at number 1, but I'm still going to do it because I still think there's enough there. And then it took home the Golden Globe, which, again, you have to kind of separate all of these things and look at it individually. But thinking about the voting body and giving it to Branagh for such a personal story, I feel like that's the direction they're going to go with original screenplay. And right now, That's my vote. Film editing, quite a few honorable mentions in Licorice Pizza, The Power of the Dog, and King Richard. But at my 5 spot, I'm going Don't Look Up, just because there is a lot of editing in that film. And most of the time, McKay's films are in on this category. At number 4, though, I'm going Tick, Tick, Boom. After watching the film again, I believe it's a beautifully edited movie, and that's something that is becoming more noticeable for a lot of people. At number 3, Belfast. Now, Belfast, I don't even know if Belfast has an editing win anywhere, but it does have a lot of nominations. And again, with a potential Best Picture winner, you're going to get nominated in a lot of categories. So I do think it gets in. But my number 2 and 1, it's actually really, really difficult. West Side Story and Dune, they have a similar amount of wins and nominations. There's just a lot that goes into the editing for both of these movies, and I think they're both well-deserved in the nomination category. I'm still going to lean Dune, though. There's just a lot that makes this movie work, even with the slower pacing, allowing it to flow like it does, and I just feel like the voting body is going to go in that direction as well. Okay, cinematography. Huge order change this time around, and I've taken a movie like Belfast out of the top 5 and put it into my honorable mentions, even though it negates what I said earlier with the movie getting a ton of nominations, but I believe this is the category, even though the cinematography is beautiful, where it may miss out. I also have Nightmare Alley, The French Dispatch, and Spencer in the honorable mentions, but going into number 5 may be a bit of a surprise for some people, not for me personally, and maybe this is a little bit of like, okay, maybe it's what Austin wants to be in there, but you also look at its victories, and it's funny because some of these smaller award ceremonies have not even nominated The Green Knight for cinematography, yet they'll nominate it in Best Picture, and I'm like, okay, but cinematography is one of the reasons. Never mind. But the ones that it's been nominated in, there have actually been more than a few wins. 5 total smaller award ceremony victories for The Green Knight right now, and that is 3rd amongst all of the other films. So, and, you know, smaller film, Oscar voting body, very different circumstances, clearly, but they may just look at it and say, that's the kind of movie. And you remember a couple years ago, The Lighthouse? Maybe it is this year's Lighthouse. That's kind of the way that I'm feeling about it. So I have it at the 5 spot. At number 4, The Tragedy of Macbeth, which I had way higher, but, you know, not being talked about as much. Clearly incredible. Number 3, Power of the Dog. You keep seeing nominations for this film because it's firmly in the conversation, but cinematography is one that I believe is completely warranted. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous movie. Number 2, West Side Story. The cinematography is immaculate, and I think it has a shot at this win. But again, number 1, guess what it is? It's Karen. No category alert. That was stupid. This time it's costume design. We're going to add a couple every single time that we do these videos, and costume design is one that I've been excited to talk about. The honorable mentions include a film like Spencer, a film like The French Dispatch. At my 5 spot, I have House of Gucci, a film that deserves to be in that conversation and probably will be. Cyrano, and the costumes in Cyrano are really, really great. So I'm glad it's being talked about in other spaces as well. Number 3, Cruella. There's no denying that Cruella has not only been nominated almost everywhere, it's won, I believe, the most in this category of any film thus far. So why not put it on the Oscars list? 2 and 1, Dune and West Side Story. I think West Side Story takes this one, though. It's this big, grand Steven Spielberg musical blockbuster, even though it didn't make a ton of money. But you're going to see the film and some of these dance numbers and say, oh yeah, costume design, it's warranted to get a nomination. And it has a lot of nominations. I don't know if it has a win yet, but Spielberg, the film has to win something, right? So this, I believe, is the one that gives it the best chance. Makeup and hair, the only honorable mention that I could really think of was Nightmare Alley, but my top 5, I'm pretty happy with. At number 5, The Suicide Squad. You look at some of the characters and some of the designs there and the use of this category, and it's funny because the first Suicide Squad won in this type of category as well at the actual Oscars, so maybe the voters will remember that for the clear superior film. Number 4, Cruella. Yeah, Cruella, again, the film is just doing really, really well. The confidence to put it higher right now is not there, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's higher up next time we do this. Number 3, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Great hair and makeup. Number 2, Dune. And number 1, House of Gucci, because Jared Leto. That's my reasoning. Supporting actress. Is it really even worth trying to find a winner other than Ariana DeBose? But we can talk about the honorable mentions. Ruth Negga from Passing. Marlee Matlin you can't deny what she did in that film. She's wonderful in CODA, especially if Troy Kotzer's in the discussion. Judi Dench in Belfast, the only other real one that I could think of. I took out Meryl Streep. She's not even in the honorable mentions anymore, which is kind of crazy because she's Meryl Streep. Number 5, I'm sticking to my guns. I know it's kind of crazy at this point. Mass is not in a lot of these discussions, but I'm going to go with Ann Dowd. I think she should win. She's not going to win. Number 4, Kirsten Dunst, Power of the Dog. I believe the same spot as last time. I've moved Anjanu Ellis and Catriona Balfe down a spot because the last time we did this was way before West Side Story was even out. So I was still like, she's in the discussion, but should she be in the top 5? But you look at the victories and the constant wins and then the Golden Globe win kind of cementing that for me. It is Ariana DeBose's to lose. She is a lock. Supporting actor, outside looking in, Bradley Cooper. I took him off my list for Licorice Pizza. J.K. Simmons from Being the Ricardos. And unfortunately, I thought Bernthal could do it. But he's just not getting the recognition from King Richard. At number 5, Jared Leto. When I did this last, it was in the midst of the House of Gucci kind of like horrible movie. Bad movie. I enjoyed it, but terrible movie. And now the steam has picked back up for someone like a Lady Gaga or a Jared Leto. Now, would he be in my personal nominations? No, but I had a great time watching him because of his accent. It was hilarious. It genuinely was hilarious. So I enjoyed, technically, I guess, his performance. He's at the 5 spot. Number 4, Jamie Dornan has moved down from Belfast. Number 3, I'm doing it. I'm putting him on the list because he's getting love, and it's great to see. Troy Kotzer. He's actually my personal choice to win this. I don't know if he still has a shot. For me, it's numbers 2 and 1. Ciarán Hinds from Belfast. That's the one that you have to look out for an upset. But at this point, looking at all of the critic circles, it has been Cody Smith-McPhee or bust. Austin, what do you mean? He has 19 wins. No, with the Golden Globes, he has 20 wins, as far as I know. So, yeah, the second most is 4. Troy Kotzer, he got Gotham. He got a couple. Yeah, no, it's Cody Smith-McPhee's to lose at this point, which is crazy to me because he was just an honorable mention last time we did this, but he continues to win. He continues to bring it home. Yeah, man, I not a lock, but pretty much. Best Actress on the outside looking in, Frances McDormand from The Tragedy of Macbeth, who gives an incredible performance. Olivia Colman, she was amazing in The Lost Daughter. I'm still keeping Jennifer Hudson in my honorable mentions. I took out Cate Blanchett and Penelope Cruz from Parallel Mothers. But my final honorable mention is one that I firmly believe could get into the 5 spot. It's Rachel Zegler, who, as we saw, took home the Golden Globe, but she's been getting the nominations in certain places, so I'm like, maybe there's a shot. I'm going to barely put Alana Haim above her because she's actually been getting the wins, and I believe she's either tied with Chastain or right up there in that 2 or 3 spots. So Haim is on the list for me. At number 4, Lady Gaga, who has also been getting the nominations. I believe she's only gotten 1 win, but the nominations are there. 3, Nicole Kidman. People are still nominating Nicole Kidman. Now, she won the Golden Globe, like I predicted, which was ridiculous, but I did. That doesn't mean I don't think she really has a chance at winning the Oscar. I don't think there's a shot there. But I am going to put her on here because it's Nicole Kidman, right? You know, every year it's like, it's Meryl Streep. Well, now Nicole Kidman actually has a shot. So I think because of that name brand recognition, and a lot of people liked her performance, putting her at the 3 spot. But it is between Jessica Chastain and Kristen Stewart, who I'm still giving the edge to because Stewart is winning all of these critic circles. And Chastain, you know, her performance was great and it warrants a nomination, but the love that Stewart's getting is kind of trumping that for me. So I'm still going to keep her in the 1 spot, and I feel pretty confident about that, even after the Golden Globes. Okay. All right. So, yeah, a lot of thought went into this, right? And you heard what I had to say during my Golden Globes video just a day and a half ago. I said it's going to come down to Andrew Garfield and Will Smith. And part of me still believes that. But another part of me looks at all of the victories that Benedict Cumberbatch has, by far the most out of anyone, even with the nominations, but the wins, I mean, it's by far the most. And funny enough, Andrew Garfield is actually, I believe, tied with Nicolas Cage in wins, if you count the Golden Globe. Will Smith is a little bit further down the list. Now, I keep saying this, Austin, different voters, not critics, but these awards are always somewhat telling, and I believe the surprise here could be Benedict Cumberbatch winning over who a lot of people are saying it's going to be in either Will Smith or Andrew Garfield. And because of that, I am going to put Cumberbatch in the 2 spot. Now, maybe the voting body, they look at it a bit differently. Like Will Smith, he deserves this. He's been in the conversation for years and years now as one of the top-tier actors. But I could also argue that with Andrew Garfield, who has Oscar nominations to his name and a major snub with The Social Network, and now he's coming more into prominence, and he has some of the other wins to go along with it. A lot of awards. Of course, he won the Golden Globe for musical comedy, and there's just a lot of talk surrounding his character. And maybe just the sheer amount of great performances he's given this year kind of nudges him into that one spot with The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and being one of the standouts in Spider-Man No Way Home, which has a Best Picture nomination shot. You heard me. I don't care if you didn't like the movie. That's not what this is about. All those things combined, Andrew Garfield right now is barely my number 1 pick over Benedict Cumberbatch, but all 3 are firmly in the conversation. I wouldn't be shocked if it's Will Smith. We'll see where we are about a month from now. Sorry, I didn't even mention my 4 and 5. My honorable mentions include Leonardo DiCaprio, who I took out, and Peter Dinklage from Cyrano, who still has a great chance. I'm going to go Denzel at 4. Once a lot of people start seeing this film, I believe they're going to see the beauty in that performance, and Denzel, he's like prime to always be in the conversation. But at 5, I'm going Nicolas Cage, because Nicolas Cage has a lot of these critic wins. He has a lot of nominations. He was in the sit-down Hollywood Reporter special where he talks with and so was Peter Dinklage. But there's something about Nicolas Cage and Pig that has me putting him over Peter Dinklage. And again, this could be me saying, I love Nicolas Cage and Pig. I love that movie, personally. But I don't know, guys. I'm feeling pretty good about putting him in the top 5. Best Director in the honorable mentions category outside looking in, I have Adam McKay from Don't Look Up, Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Lost Daughter, can't quite pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try, for Drive My Car, and Guillermo del Toro, not really anymore. I had to take him off of my list, unfortunately. But at the 5 spot, Steven Spielberg. Last time was before I watched West Side Story. Now that I've seen it, and he's been in that conversation, he's at the 5 spot. PTA for Licorice Pizza. There's no denying the greatness of Paul Thomas Anderson, but unfortunately, I don't think this is his year. Kenneth Branagh, who was a lot of people's number 1 just a month ago, but after the dominance from Jane Campion, I've moved him down. I've moved Denis Villeneuve down, and y'all know, of course, I want Denis Villeneuve to win it, but right now, it is looking like it's going to be Jane Campion, who has a significant amount of wins over Villeneuve and Branagh, who are in 2nd and 3rd place. They're all pretty much tied with nominations, the same nominations across the board, but it's going to be Jane Campion. I am actually really, really confident in that, because it's who everybody's been talking about. If she gets snubbed in anything, it could be screenplay. But I don't think she's going to get snubbed in screenplay, and I don't think she's going to get snubbed with director. Would she be my personal choice? No, she would not. But she did a phenomenal job for Power of the Dog. There's no denying that. And she just keeps winning. And a winner never loses. That's not true. This has been a long video. You guys are probably sick of me talking by now. I'm sick of myself talking. The honorable mentions include The Tragedy of Macbeth, The Lost Daughter. Come on. Why is this movie not getting more love? Especially with just a 10 spot that's up in the air right now. Nightmare Alley, I just kind of took that off the honorable mentions. I enjoyed it, but a lot of other people didn't. You have to put No Way Home on there. You have to. You have to put it in the honorable mentions. And do not color me shocked if it slides into that number 10 or even that number 9 spot. But I'm actually a lot of people are kind of like, well, what's the 10 spot going to be? I'm really confident in this top 10. I am. So at number 10, Drive My Car. It is being talked about in numerous circles. It has numerous wins. It won the National Society of Film Critics Best Picture over all of these other movies. And again, it's critics compared to the voters for the Oscars, but I think a lot of people are going to become curious and notice this. And I feel like a lot of people are going to watch the film. Now, more people have seen Spider-Man No Way Home. Absolutely. But for me to put that on this list, my confidence level would be like, Is it really? And y'all know how much I love that movie. I don't have to defend Spider-Man No Way Home. I shouldn't have to defend Spider-Man No Way Home. I love it, but I'm putting Drive My Car at the 10 spot. At number 9, The Talk is all about Tick, Tick, Boom and that performance from Andrew Garfield. So I think that puts it in the top 10. The Talk is also about Don't Look Up. I believe the 3rd most watched movie on Netflix of all time, so it has the popularity along with the less critical love, but more just overall enjoyment factor and Adam McKay's success. Number 7, CODA. It keeps moving up my list. It really does. And part of me believes it could be like that dark horse Best Picture contender. I know it sounds crazy. I know it doesn't have a lot of wins, but I feel that way. At number 6, Dune. Dune is moving down a little bit, unfortunately. Not as many wins for it in the Best Picture category. Number 5. Now, you know that I had King Richard about 2 months ago really high up this list. I've taken it back down because it just hasn't been performing like I thought it would. Now, that doesn't mean it's not that feel-good, audience-friendly movie that some of these voters are going to see and not vote for. That's why I have it at 5, but I don't know if it has a great chance right now. Number 4, Licorice Pizza. Licorice Pizza is one of those films that has it all. You know, the feel-good nature, PTA, the director, the cast, the first-time actors in there. It's just one of those movies that it's won a couple of awards. It's got pretty much everything going for it. Not enough to win, but enough to at least be in that conversation. West Side Story does have enough to be firmly in the discussion to win. Is my head there now? No, it's not. But Steven Spielberg, combined with recreating a classic, combined with the overall great response by those who have seen it, guys, it didn't do great at the box office. I'm putting it at number 3. Number 2, a bit of a shock for a lot of people. A lot of people still have Belfast at number 1 because the appreciation for Kenneth Branagh and just the overall quality of the film. And there's no denying that. But The Power of the Dog, for me, hey, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. Because I am. It was the Golden Globes win that cemented it being in the 1 spot for me. Now, again, what are the Golden Globes nominated music last year, whenever that was. And the Golden Globes, they do stupid things all the time. And they do stupid things. I said do. But at the end of the day, Power of the Dog had like 18, 19 wins coming into the Golden Globes. All critics, right? So I'm like, are the Golden Globes really going to do it? Because this is a different kind of voting body and they pick weird things. And it falls right in line with the critics. And then you also have Jane Campion, who is just beloved by people in the industry. And it's a quality film with deeper themes that we often see getting a lot of love, that kind of movie, at the Oscars. So all of those things combined, I feel like every voting body is in the same headspace right now with The Power of the Dog. And this isn't me saying it's my favorite on the list, because it's not. But I think the movie is very high quality, and I believe it's going to get enough votes to win. And I'm actually feeling pretty confident in that right now. Again, it's not my choice, but it doesn't have to be when coming up with the ones that you think are going to win. So right now, I have The Power of the Dog firmly in that 1 spot to take home this victory. But I need to know, what do you guys think? I mean, even a film like The Green Knight has a couple of victories in these smaller critic ceremonies, so I don't think it gets into the top 10. But who knows, man? Crazier things have happened, and a lot of people think that 10 spot is wide open. So is it Green Knight? Is it Spider-Man? Is it Karen? Maybe. Oh, man. This video is not sponsored by Hint Water, let me tell you. Listen, this has been a great video. I've really enjoyed fleshing out my thoughts for all of these things that continue to change, man. With new information, you have to take that, you have to apply it. But my question is, where are your heads at with all of this, man? What do you feel is going to win in your heart? And again, if we were taking just my heart, it would be very different. But that's why I want to start working on a video for you guys. It is my personal Oscar winners, the movies that I would vote for if I was voting. And I had that chance with the Critics' Choice Awards. So hopefully I'll be going to that. I plan on going out to California and attending for you guys, doing a couple of vlogs along the way. But I really appreciate you guys for being here. Everything that you do for this channel, all of your support, all your thumbs up, and continuing to make this specific series go. You guys the best. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews.